thanks for stopping by Across the Fence. I'm Jolene Whitney. Adding a deck, reshingling a roof, or doing some much-needed repairs to your home can be a big undertaking. Finding a trustworthy contractor is step one, but that's far from the end of the job. Today we're going to discuss how to avoid home improvement scams. Joining me today are Charity Clark, the Vermont Attorney General, and Gabriel Taylor-Marsh, the Home Improvement Specialist with the Vermont Attorney General's Consumer Assistance Program. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And of course, this new program, the Home Improvement Specialist Program, was started this year. Can you tell me a little bit about why you started this program, Charity?
Yes. Well, our Consumer Assistance Program receives 150 complaints every year regarding home improvement issues. And it consistently is among the top complaints that our office receives. So reported losses recently in a year, $1 million. You know, it's a ton of money. And we wanted to do something to respond to that, to help Vermonters and use our consumer assistance program to assist them, and also contractors who are doing the work in home improvement fraud cases to get a better result in these instances. The complaints that we receive range from I put down a down payment and they never came back. So true fraud, they just stole their money, or unfinished work, shoddy work that wasn't done. Sometimes it's really a miscommunication. The work isn't done the way that the consumer thought it should be, and the contractor is saying, well, this is exactly what I understood the work to be. So it really runs the gamut. We worked for several years along with the Secretary of State's office to look at this problem and try to come up with a plan that would make things better. What we did in 2022, the legislature heeded our call and created a home improvement contractor registration program, which has been in place. The Secretary of State has stood that up last year, and in the end, what the legislature instructed was that contractors who had a contract that was worth $10,000 or more needed to register, they had to be insured, and there needs to be a contract with the consumer. And the other great thing that we created as a part of that legislation was the home improvement specialist position at the Consumer Assistance Program. I'm really proud to be here with Gabriel Taylor-Marsh, who is our home improvement specialist, and he has the perfect experience. He not only has paralegal experience, he also has the experience of actually working in construction. So he has been doing this for going on a year. And we're really happy to be here today to speak with you about the program.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining me again. And as we just said, you've been doing this for about a year. Can you tell me some specifics about complaints you've received?
Yeah, typically most of the calls we get are from homeowners who've had a breakdown in communication with their contractor. That's the most typical call we get, usually after the project's been done. But what I'm trying to do is also help homeowners from the front end and find the right contractor before they begin their project.
Okay, we're talking about real numbers here, real people impacted in real dollars. Can you tell me a little bit about how much money you've been able to recover?
I can.
Yeah, thanks.
Since starting in last July, we've saved Vermonters over $300,000 from beginning this program.
And it's not just, I mean, obviously hiring a great contractor is the first step, but it's not always as simple as just saying it. What should somebody be looking for when looking for a contractor, Gabriel?
There are a couple steps homeowners can take before they find their contractor. The first step we like to share with them is to go to the Secretary of State's website to verify that the contractor they want to use is in fact registered with the state. The second step we offer to the homeowner is to go to our home improvement fraud registry list to make sure that their contractor is not on that list. Lastly, and probably even most importantly, is that we've created a 6-point checklist for homeowners to use to find and secure their next home improvement contractor, which can be found all through our website.
Okay, is that something that like you recommend people talk to friends and family about for recommendations?
Absolutely. Referrals, referrals, referrals. Please talk with your family, friends, coworkers, neighbors to get some real referrals about the person you would like to be using.
And of course, there's hiring somebody and making sure they're registered, but Charity, can you tell me about how the process continues after that?
Well, I should also just note, if anyone has any questions about, or they need help with our website or looking at either the Secretary of State's registry of folks who register, or we have a registry of actual criminal convictions against folks who have committed criminal fraud in the home improvement context. They can always call our phone number, which is 1-800-649-2424, and reach someone at the Consumer Assistance Program. But so after you've done your research, I think the most important thing you can do is ensure that you have a written contract. You heard me say that our law requires there to be a written contract when the amount of the job is $10,000 or more, but speaking as a lawyer, you always want to have a contract for both sides. If you're a contractor, you want to have a contract too, because you're never going to have this misunderstanding that Gabriel just described, where the consumer, the homeowner, is thinking one thing is going to be done and you feel like you've been clear about another. If it's in writing, it's so much clearer. You can really outline the scope of work, the time frame on the expectation of when things are going to be done, and all of that. So I would say that's probably the most important thing. The other thing that I would say is, making sure that the contractor is insured, incredibly important. So those are the two main things I would highlight in terms of your next step.
Absolutely. And Gabriel, you mentioned to check the registry and make sure somebody isn't registered on the fraud list or anything like that, but you also recommend that you keep researching after the fact. Why is that an important step?
Well, the registry is a useful tool to make sure that the contractor that you want to use is following state laws. So that's number one. Number two, you do want to get trusted resources and get referrals from them. And number three, you do want to go check the home improvement fraud registry list to make sure that the contractor you use or wanted to use has not been convicted of any home improvement fraud.
All right, we talked a little bit about contracts, and so to get into some of the paperwork, what kind of information should be included in a quote?
So a quotation or an estimate is a must. You want to have everything in writing. The quotation or estimate will detail a timeline of work, cost of labor, cost of materials, what types of materials will be used, and then lastly, information about a possible deposit will be on that document.
And of course, we're talking about a legal document, so is that something that a consumer should make sure and look over before they sign, as well as the contractor?
Yes, absolutely. You want to read the fine print, always make sure that you understand the terms, and if you don't, ask someone. You can reach out to our office again if you have questions about what something might mean, or even consult with a lawyer. When you're spending a lot of money, sometimes it does make sense to invest in just having a lawyer look something over. If it really is a big job, you want to make sure that everything is on the up and up, and you feel good about what the outcome will be of the work that's being done.
All right, and you recommend not paying all at once. Why do you recommend that?
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, you heard me say that one of the common home improvement contractor complaints we get is I gave them the money and they never did the job. So it's totally appropriate to pay some money up front, make a deposit, especially if the contractor needs to have money to purchase raw materials, and you want to make sure that you're doing that. But we definitely would encourage folks to not pay the whole amount up front.
And we're talking about a lot of paperwork here. What should people do with invoices or any documents they have with a contractor, Gabriel?
Definitely keep your paperwork, keep a tight paper trail in a safe and organized manner. So anything from invoices, contract, to text messages, emails between you and the contractor, you want to save that information. In the event you do need to file a complaint down the line, you have that in one safe place and can access that more easily.
And the Consumer Protection Agency isn't law enforcement. You're not calling the police when you call the agency, but what happens when a complainant calls in?
Well, we employ what we call a letter mediation service, and that frequently what that looks like, and this is across the board, not just with home improvement issues, is we receive a complaint and we send the complaint to the business being complained about and say, hey, we've received this complaint. What do you say? Let us know in 10 days or 7 days, whatever it is. And the business will respond and either say like, oops, our bad, or hey, that's not what happened, or here's some additional documentation we want you to see because we don't agree with what the consumer is saying. And we kind of go back and forth. The beauty of Gabriel's position is he's that person. So he's very knowledgeable and experienced with all these kinds of issues. So he can be the one, not just using letter mediation, which he does, but also, talking to people on the phone and resolving things that way too. It's really effective. And we have 40 years of experience, I would say. The Consumer Assistance Program was created many, many years ago. So we've kind of refined our craft over the years, and really they do a great job.
And you mentioned a little bit, sometimes you'll reach out to a contractor and they'll say, oh, that's not me, or something like that. So Gabriel, in your experience, what protections are there for contractors who maybe feel like they're on the end of a fraudulent contract?
Well, what we do at the Consumer Assistance Program is, again, mediate the complaint. I take a very neutral side. I don't take the side of the homeowner or the contractor, and try to resolve everything in a really fair and reasonable manner.
Okay, are there any protections for a contractor looking to make sure on their end? Is there anything a contractor should make sure they do? Or is it all the same as you should as a consumer?
Charity?
Yeah, I would say it's the same. I mean, the thing that we always say is, excuse me, these contractors are small businesses. You know, they might not have like big resources in a law department and an IT department and an accounting department. So something like a contract is incredibly helpful. Please get insurance. If you are a contractor, you must have insurance. That's going to protect you in so many, you know, you're going into people's homes, like you want to make sure you're protected. So those are the two big things that I would say. Make sure you have things in writing, keep really good paperwork, set expectations about time frames. We know things can go wrong, and it's best to say, here's what I'm anticipating, and just communicate that way. And we have tools to assist contractors as well. We want to be supportive of them and make sure that we're doing what we can to support the whole process and make sure that both sides are getting what they expected, and they have a good experience with the process.
Absolutely. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
To talk with Gabriel or to get links to any of the programs or databases we discussed, visit the Consumer Assistance Program's website, or you can call 1-800-649-2424. That's 1-800-649-2424. That takes care of our program for today. Thank you to the crew here at WCAX for helping our guests and me spend some time together. Have a good one.